Good day everyone. So we are the group 3 and we are discussing all about understanding and enhancing one's self-image. I am Jasmine Villacarillo together with my co-reporter Cassandra Godin, Charito Loste, Sheena Amador, Kenneth Capito, Chelssy Loyola, and Lauren Angeline Lastimado. And in this discussion, I will be the first presenter. And my topic here is all about concept related to the self. According to Carl Roger, a psychologist, was the proponent of self-theory. This theory is regarded as humanistic and it is a move towards recognizing the human potential for psychological growth. And he also believed that concept related to the self is made up of different parts. What are those? The first, we have here the self. Self is made up of many self-perception, ability, and personality, characteristics that are organized and consistent with one another. Also, according to Rogers, 1993, self-concept plays an important role in personality because it influences human behaviors, feelings, and thoughts. Self-concept refers to how people see or describe themselves. It is a subjective perception of who people are and what they are like, or the person I think I am, or the person I wish to be. Also, there are two types of self-concept: people with positive self-concept and people with negative self-concept. When we say here people with positive self-concept, it tend to act, think, feel constructively and optimistically. They think of themselves in a good light. On the other hand, people with negative self-concept, they behave, think, and act with pessimism. When we say here pessimism, it is a person who habitually expect bad things to happen or thinks things are bad. They do not believe in their ability to do things or carry out certain tasks. It's like they don't have enough confidence in what they are going to do. And also, there are two kinds of selves, the real self and the ideal self. When we say here real self, it is the image or picture of the self based on a person as having a positive self or self-concept. And the ideal self, it is self based on one's hope and wishes. It reflects how one's like to see himself or herself to be. The person who knows you best, your abilities, talents, personality, and characteristic is you. You know your positive or high points as well as your negative or low points. Make sure to maintain or sustain strength. Likewise, strive to improve and change your weaknesses or negative points into something positive.
Discrepancy in self. Self-concept is a construction of beliefs of oneself. Rogers states that there is usually contradiction or discrepancy between the real self and ideal self. It is when we are not able to reach the ideal self which leads to feeling of failure that eventually might even develop a negative self-concept. So, para mawala yung negative self-concept, it is important to have positive regard in our life. So, positive regard is the love, acceptance, and respect from the people in our environment, especially our family and loved ones. So, there are two types of positive regards: the conditional positive regards and unconditional positive regards. Conditional positive regards is received when we are able to meet the expectations and standards of others, while unconditional positive regards is received when people around us accept us for who we are.
Moving on, let's talk about self-esteem. So first, What is personality and social development? So, personality and social development refer to how a person's sense of self or self-identity, relationships with others, and skills necessary for social interactions evolve. Why personality development is important? So, personality development is important because you need to set an example for people around you. And personality development not only makes you look good and presentable, but also helps you face the world with a smile. Furthermore, personality development goes a long way in reducing stress and conflicts. It encourages individuals to look at the brighter sides of life. In social development naman, it can be affected by a child's personality, the opportunities they have for social interaction, behaviors learned from parents, and developmental disorders. For example, a child who has a short temper and witnesses violence in the home may have trouble learning how to play well with other kids. So the next one is personal or self-identity. So it explains how people describe themselves in terms of values, goals, traits, and perceptions unique to them. So it is closely related to self-esteem or how much people value themselves and their worth as a persons. An easy understanding of self-identity, it simply means that it is how you identify and define yourself. And also, it is the awareness of one's unique identity. For example, the feeling of a teenager that she can be who she is, instead of falling into the pressures of drugs and alcohol. Then, let's move on to self-esteem. So, what is self-esteem? It is the level of importance attributed to oneself and one's abilities. Self-esteem is how we value and perceive ourselves. It has to do with the feelings people experience that follow from their sense of worthiness or unworthiness. So, self-esteem is important because it heavily influences people's choices and decisions. As a student, self-esteem is necessary to take risks in their learning and to bounce back after failure or adversity. So having a high self-esteem or self-confidence, it leads you to success or it can make you move forward to another chapter or journey of your life. If you have low self-esteem or lack of confidence, you should boost it. Because if you don't believe or trust yourself and to your ability, you will always doubt your worth and ability, which can't make you to success. As I said earlier, self-esteem is the level of importance attributed to oneself and one's abilities. One may put a high value or a low value on his or her worth as a person. So, self-esteem, as you can see in the diagram, it is likewise associated with important positive or negative outcomes. As you can see in the diagram, under the positive outcomes is high self-esteem because high self-esteem is associated with positive outcomes which is correlated with healthy social relationships, being emotionally and socially adjusted, cheerfulness, and overall happiness. On the other hand, under the negative outcomes, as you can see in the diagram, is low self-esteem because low self-esteem is associated with negative outcomes like depression, anxiety, antisocial behavior, and poor personal adjustment. Furthermore, we should strive to develop a high self-esteem because it determines our kind of personal and social relationships. Holding good feelings about oneself results in flexibility and adaptability to situations and people. On the other hand, a low self-esteem may lead to poor social relationships. The next reporter to discuss about self-actualization is Miss Sheena Amador.
So let's now discuss about self-actualization. Humans possess an inner drive to grow, improve, and use their potential to the fullest, according to Plutnik, 2014. This statement is in fact true because we humans grow each day, and while we are growing, we experience different kinds of things. That's why we improve. And while improving, we reach and discover the highest potential of ourselves. And that is the final stage in the completed growth, which is known as the self-actualization or the self-fulfillment, which is a major tenet in humanistic psychology. According to Abraham Maslow, 1943, a self-actualizing person has reached the highest level or peak of his or her personal development and has fully realized his or her potential as a human being. To better understand self-actualization, for example, you have created a more purpose and meaningful life. So when a person is able to create more purpose in their life or live purposefully, they feel they are living their best life. Another example is you become comfortable with the uncomfortable things. We know that growth comes from sitting with being uncomfortable and recognizing that by doing this, you continue to grow and will eventually become comfortable, or in short, you learn to sit with uncertainty. Another example is you recognize the realization of your potential, which will help you develop your abilities. Then you are more concerned or focused on what will help you grow. You are less concerned about other people think of you. Then, you are able to fully use your talents and strengths without being deterred by your challenges. Then, having self-awareness that creates greater self-acceptance. And you have reached a place where your ideal self is actually the person who you are. The self-fulfilled person is generally happy, generous with his or her time and effort to help others, and strives for the common good for his or her family, community, country, and even humanity. So just like the example kanina, which is when a person is able to create a purpose in their life, they feel that they are living their best life. And when they reached a place where their ideal self is actually the person who they are, it makes them generally happy and generous with their own time and effort to help their loved ones. Then we have here the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It explains that individuals' actions are directed toward goal attainment. The hierarchy is composed of 5 stages of human needs and usually illustrated in a pyramid. The levels are sequentially satisfied according to the most basic needs found at the bottom of the pyramid, progressing onto higher level of needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs contends that people have to satisfy first their basic needs, which it begins to the physiological needs, which are the breathing, food, water, shelter, clothing, and sleep. The rate of achieving higher level needs may vary among individuals. However, it is possible for one to proceed to the next higher level of need, even if he or she is still in the process of fully satisfying a lower level need. So from physiological of needs, which is the most basic needs, then safety and security needs, love and belonging needs, self-esteem needs, and the self-actualization needs. So we have the first level of needs, which is the physiological needs. For survival, comprised of food, water, shelter, clothing, and sleep. Then the second level of needs, which is the safety and security. This stage involves health and well-being, property, social stability, and protection from harm, among others. Then the third level of needs, which is the love and belonging, it is the need for friendship, intimacy, and the sense of connection with others. So, connections with others or relationship with others. Then the fourth level of needs, which is the self-esteem. It contains items such as achievement, competency, approval, recognizing, and respect from others. And we have the final level of needs, which is the self-actualization. It is the final or the highest needs. Included in this level are morality, realization of the purpose in life, meaning, inner potential, and the like. This level aims for the full development of one's unique potential. So this is the level or the stage where a person finally discover his or her potential. So Maslow also classified these needs into two general categories, deficiency needs and the growth needs. Deficiency needs refers to physiological needs, which are the sleep, food, water, and etc. And physiological needs, which is the safety, love, esteem. While in the growth needs are those at the higher levels, which is the self-actualization needs. Those are desire of truth, beauty, and justice.
Characteristics of self-actualized persona. Now that we learned about self-actualized person, let's talk about its characteristics. So, studying highly productive and exceptional personalities, Maslow 1971, described the characteristics of self-actualizing or self-actualized individuals. Some of the personalities he studied are Martin Luther King Jr., Eleanor Roosevelt, and Albert Einstein. And the results were A. They have highly level of moral development and are willing to help others before themselves. Also, all of them are working not for fame or money, and only have focus in what's in front of them. So, in short, these individuals are virtuous or virtuous, whatever you call it, and people with integrity. Furthermore, their commitment to their work is admiring due to their due to the fact that they are or they don't do it for money or fame, but only for their sake and for other people. Second characteristic is they are open, honest, and have the courage to act on their convictions without really caring about people's opinion. And believe it or not, I meant that as a compliment. And they are not interested in something unrelated to work. Also, they are not dependent on their friends' company or approval. They rather prefer privacy and independence. However, they do care about some of their friends, but just it's just that they choose wisely on picking some of their friends. Now then, as for my explanation for that is, in simple terms, they're open-minded and altruistic. When we say altruistic, there are people who rarely shows traits of selfishness and who acts only for other people. Also, they prefer privacy and independence. This shows how serious they really are to their work, because they're devoting most of their time and most of their life actually on it. The third characteristic is they have an accurate and realistic view of people and life, and yet they are positive about life. As for this, so meaning to say here, all of these individuals are an accurate person and also have traits of a realist. When we say a realist is who recognize what is a real or possible in a particular situation. But despite this fact, they are still positive about life. Next is the last one.
Life is always challenging and fresh to self-actualizing individuals. They are spontaneous in their actions and feelings. They also experience moments of great joy and self-satisfaction. And my explanation is, life is in correct in the last characteristic. Life always gives challenges to self-individuals. Therefore, a person with that trait usually do spontaneous in their actions and feelings. Now then, next up is here. Using the term self-actualizing rather than self-actualized means that attaining actualization is a lifelong and continuous process. Although only a few reach this level, everyone has a self-actualizing tendency. It's more important to strive to move towards self-actualization. This is, as students, we're expected to be at a particular level in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And most probably we are still in the stage where we crave for physiological and psychological needs, and a little need for love and belongingness. Be sure to satisfy these needs. One key action to fully satisfy your needs at each stage is to attain self-actualization, and to study hard. In the process, you gain knowledge and experience in life that you'll need to achieve your goals. And finally, we have this. While you have not yet reached the level of self-actualization at this point, in your life, you may create a plan or target to attain self-actualization. To be able to focus your work and efforts towards self-actualization, this plan or target to attain this is actually quite important and a big step in life. You could either watch some people on how to do it or not, or just basically do your own plan. And that's all for my report. Thank you.
In conclusion to this topic, it differentiated the various concepts related to the self, which are the self concept, self image, real self, ideal self, self esteem, and self actualization. Discussions about these concepts pointed to the importance of individuals having a positive image and concept about themselves because, in many ways, their self concept might explain their behavior. This also emphasized the importance of self esteem, which is the kind and the amount of value and worth attributed to oneself. Maslow's hierarchy of needs posited that self actualization is the goal of every human being. To achieve this, needs at every level have to satisfied first. The characteristics and behaviors of people who are self actualized were also described and clarified.